So our starting footprint is of course a 2x2, but we want 2 raised foundations on the left and 2 low ones on the right. This will put our final entrance this way, if that makes sense. The bunker entrance will be from this square into this one. So the TC will end up going into this corner like this, which will basically face the entrance of your final base. To wall this in, we'll start where the main loot will go, which will be 1.5 levels high. We'll stop right here with the door frame, since adding in the entire bunker mechanism right now isn't necessarily the best route. It is much more efficient to secure this interior and get these 2 doors between the outside and your TC. The first addition is usually a couple of small boxes which go here. These are not permanent, but we can use them right now as a spacer to get the sleeping bags into the correct orientation. I'll add 3 bags here. You could add more, but 3 is a comfortable amount of people for the base this size. We also need a couple of furnaces so we can place the first 2 right next to the TC. The workbench could then go right into this corner. Once you need more storage, you can place your first large box right down here. The idea here will be to fit 4 boxes into this bottom square in a circle. You can add more boxes here as you need more storage. I also like to add a door on the front of main loot. It should swing open like this though, or it will make traveling in here a pain. That is the starter base that most groups use. Some will place garage doors immediately on this and even upgrade it to sheet metal. It all depends on the situation. We can now add in the roof bunker, which we'll do from in here. It's important to note that when you add this in, you'll either need to get rid of the double door here or replace it with the garage door. For the video, I'll use the garage door. For the actual mechanism, we need to have this half wall on this side and a full wall on the other. The roof itself goes here. To open this bunker from the inside, you can add in this twig floor frame. You can then add this triangle roof to the side, upgrade it, and the bunker opens. To close it, just break the frame, and from the outside, it's a solid wall to raid. There is one place you can soft side on the left here, which is what we'll have to fix now. Now by fixing this, we also build out our front entrance with what we build. This is where group size comes in, and there are many ways to extend this out. You can do inner peak downs, multi-TC stuff, floor stacking, but for this small base, we're going to stay small and simple. Our entrance will extend to here for now, and we can seal the rest in. We'll need an extra half height on this side. We'll need to leave this part open and add in a shell for our second floor now as well. All these are walls, and this last spot, since it will lead into our top floor later on, needs a wall frame. For now, this can fend off any door campers. We can put a full roof up here since hatches are weak, and we already have plans for a way up. The basic layout for this second floor will be a wall here and a door to split the room in half. We'll add a loot room here later on, so we'll wait on that wall frame. Now it is very important for the rest of this build to never put anything in this slot. This is because if we do, when we do come down here to open the bunker, it will never open again. This is literally because there is something built here, so as soon as it's empty again, the bunker opens normally. The final build step here is to add in one more double door. It doesn't create an airlock per se, but you always want to have more than one door at your front entrance. So now let's upgrade the core of our base. The first thing we'll work on is our main loot room here, which you can see now has the classic 4 boxes in a square. Now for the video, I'm going to remove all of this stuff just to give a clean demonstration. Obviously in a real server you'll have to pick up and move all of this stuff as you progress. First thing for this loot room is going to be adding in a garage door on the front. We could put one here too. It's important before we add any more into this room to upgrade this floor since it will be a pain to access after this. I also upgrade the bottom half walls to metal. Now we can add in the first shelf in this triangle, which will hold 2 large boxes. This box should be as close to the roof as you can get it, and the second one against the wall. It's best to add these before you upgrade this roof, since the HQM roof is much bigger and the boxes will be really close to each other. Right now we have this gap so that if you decide to lock your boxes, there will always be enough room to reach the locks. At this point, I like to upgrade the rest of the room since adding in shelves tends to make it tougher. While we're at it, I like to upgrade the TC room now as well. To add the final shelf, we'll need to come behind it and add a temporary build-up. You can jump and place both of these boxes, but to me, slow and steady wins the race here. This shelf can also be stone, and once again we have the same gap for the code locks. Now we can go ahead and break the twig, and our loot room is done. We can access the bottom by jumping in like this. Now one more box that I consider kind of in main loot is this one here. You can try to fit it as good as possible just like this, or what I like to do is upgrade this frame first, which results in the smallest gap behind the large box. And you can still access this bottom stuff very smoothly. What we'll do next is add this stuff back with a few changes to it. First, I want to say that the reason that this loot room is so good is that it is very easy to access everything with a bunch of players at the same time, and it fits perfectly next to the working roof bunker. Literally meta. The next thing we'll replace will be the furnaces that were next to the TC. We can add one more in the mix and place all three into this hole here. This way they don't get in the way and they can still do their job. The next thing of course will be our workbench progression. You could put the level 2 here, but when it comes to the level 3, we'll want to place it against this wall next to the TC. You could place it right now, but once again I like to upgrade the frame so that it fits further back. When you have it aligned with the back wall, you can strafe left and right to get it closer to the TC. The small box goes under it, and if we have a closer look, you can see how close it is to the back wall here. The next thing will be the sleeping bags. They pretty much go in the same position as they were earlier. I'll use 3 once again, but there is room for a couple of more if you do need them. You may have noticed that I've already added in these 4 boxes. This is the exact same layout as this side, and it works great here as well. You could add the research table here with the large box, but I find that it makes everything feel cluttered. Plus we could add drop boxes onto that wall later on if we use this layout. We could then upgrade this room to sheet metal as well. So the whole idea here is that at the end, this entire 2x2 will be HQM, which makes this entire room kind of the main loot. We just have to upgrade it piece by piece for now. The next thing we'll need to focus on will be covering up this sheet metal on the first floor with honeycomb, which will naturally add onto our front entrance on this side. We can do this by adding on 4 triangle foundations. The one next to the roof should be low and the rest can be raised. Next we'll work our way around the 2x2, adding in raised foundations where we can. We'll add in triangles on the top where the first floor meets the second floor, and then we can add in the walls. We should be able to use mostly full walls to do this. However, on this last one, we'll need 2 extra half walls on the top. This section is different since behind it is our main loot, which is 1.5 levels high. Now most of that sheet metal is covered, and we'll cover the rest now as we build out our entrance. Let's add 1 low foundation to the very front to make the jump up a known height. We can add the door onto here and seal off the rest of the room. We'll use a sheet metal door for now. Now let's see how this has changed the dynamic of our base. We can come through the front door and right into this stone wall now. This makes entering the bunker through this route only 5 rockets, so we need to do some upgrading. We'll upgrade everything roof related in here to metal. Since we just added all of that stone honeycomb around the core, the general raid cost now should be about 12 rockets from every direction, and 5 is less than half of that, so that's why we need to fix this right away. Now when we open the bunker, we will need to use the same material for it to work. Now the bunker is 8 rockets from all directions to raid when closed. Although it doesn't add security per raid cost here, I like to add another door onto the front path just to keep people from going partially deep on you. We'll do more in this area soon. First let's add on to our second floor. First thing to do up here will be replacing this door that's right above the roof. We'll place a garage door here now, both for more space and more security. This will be our jump up, so we'll extend it up one more full level. Another garage door will go on the top. There are a couple of things you can use here. A furnace is the most common. You can go for a hatch here, which is also common, but it doesn't really add anything raid cost wise. And that is the way up to what will be the defense floor. If you want to use a hatch, the frame goes here. Now back on the inside, we'll add in some very important items. First, we'll add in this repair bench, which has to be placed first. With this door closed, we can add in this locker right here, nice and close to the edge. This is a really strong placement because if you need to spawn really quickly in a fight, you would start on your bag down here, grab a kit like this, and quickly move to the entrance. Up here, we'll add in 2 small boxes under this, cause why not? A good bit of utility there, and now for the loot room up here. We'll add in a shelf and secure the front with a door. If you orientate both garage doors the same way as shown here, you can avoid any weirdness with the corners up on the top. So you can use any loot room you want here. The most basic one is this one. Although it is not efficient storage wise, groups still use it because multiple people can use it at the same time in a pinch. This is definitely the most common one by far. A better version of this loot room is one that a guy named 31 showed me, and it's this one. It's pretty much the same thing, except has 4 extra rows of storage with this barbecue and small box. For most groups in this base, it is probably the best one. Like I said though, you can put any loot room in here you want, as long as it fits the playstyle and the needs of your group. And now from the outside of the base, you could see it's all starting to come together. Before we add anything to the inside, let's first finish our front entrance since door campers may be on their way by now. We'll first add in these foundations. Opposite of the door, we'll add a frame and bring both sides up to 1.5 levels like this. On the front, we'll use a twig half wall to get a door frame in, and the door can swing in. The shop front can also go in now. After the roof is on, we can break the twig and we'll come to the front and add in this car ramp that's level with the door. We'll upgrade this to metal to give us the most vision. Now on the inside, I'd like to add this low wall so that people can't try to loot you if you lose the fight. To add an airlock to this front door, we'll need to bring this part up like this so that the door frames are at the same height. If you swing the door like this, you get the airlock. And this door leads to what we already built. If we have a look from the outside, we now have an airlocked front door that also has decent vision and a way to fight off the door campers. You could also come out of the roof to help. Now back in the main hall, there's a couple of things we can add to this area here. First, let's remove these doors so that we have a nice open area. We'll add a frame here to separate this side from the roof bunker. I also added in this half-height floor to get some storage space on top. Face the tops of the garage doors the same as in the video here so that they don't stick out to the outside. These garage doors all add to security, but they also leave a much more open space to work with here. In this area, I like to put a couple of boxes and a locker you can use when you need to run out quickly. There is this area down here that I like to use for more storage, so later on I'll be closing it off, but you may choose to put a large battery in here for electricity if you need it. One thing you can add in here, which is kind of out of your walkway, is the research table. This will come in useful on a BP wipe, and you should always put a large box under it. You can add sleeping bags on the floor. Now the next thing we could do is go up to our top floor and begin prepping the defense floor. The footprint of the floor will consist of adding 2 triangles to each side of the main 2x2. The jump up here also counts as one. Next we'll fill in the middle on all 4 sides. This will give you this shape here. On each corner we'll want to extend each side by 1 triangle like this, which will leave a slight gap on each of the corners. This is the way you build a very basic defense floor. This one has 4 gaps, 1 in each direction of the base. To build our defense floor, we'll want to add door frames on the right side of each of these gaps. The last one goes behind the jump up. When we add the doors, they should all swing outward like this. The next thing will be adding the window frames around the entire edge. There will be 3 on each side. Since the base isn't super tall, you shouldn't run into any stability issues here. Next thing we'll add is vertical embrasures to each of the openings. This will give you some defense capability while giving you a bit of cover at the same time. Some people prefer horizontal embrasures or even window bars here, but my own preference are these. With all those in, the defense floor is almost done. Next we'll add on the roof. We will need wall frames around the 2x2 for stability, which we can place easily by standing in the middle. Starting at the jump up, the ceiling should be solid except for this one, which will be for our hatch. The hatch will lead up into our heli storage above. It doesn't really matter which way the hatch opens, but I like to have it open like this so that I can run right out of the jump up and right into it. To fill in the ceiling around the edge, you just want to line up the triangle up here with the floor. This will also leave the same gaps as below. One downside about these gaps is that a player can stand here and be pushed in for free by a teammate. To fix this, we'll use 4 siren lights. We'll place them on top of each of the doors. You can see if you place them right how that blocks the gap. Let's take a quick look from the outside. The gap is blocked, and with that done, our defense floor is also done. Before we start upgrading the inside, it's important that we add the following honeycomb. We'll want a wall here and we can upgrade it right to metal. What we are doing is covering up where the roof sticks out when the bunker is closed. We might as well upgrade this side while we're up here. It's a bit over upgraded for this exact moment, but it is necessary. Once that's good, we can then come inside the core. We want to upgrade the second floor soon, but we should prioritize the bunker. Do this as you get the materials to do so. We'll start at the loot and work our way around until everything here is HQM. If you're really low on HQM, then start at the TC. For the loot room, we will have to remove 1 box in order to upgrade the floor, and then we can do this wall. The box should go back in very easily. We can upgrade the other side like this. Now the back one there we'll have to get from the other side, but we'll do the rest of the bunker first. So like I said, we'll just work our way back and upgrade everything. You shouldn't have to move anything else to do the rest. When it comes to the bunker itself, remember once this gets upgraded to armored, you will need to open this up using an HQM triangle, so remember to have some extra inside the bunker. Down here we can upgrade the final 2 parts of the bunker, and right behind this wall is where our main loot room is, as you can see. So as of right now, this is a 19 rocket raid through the walls, plus a few extra rockets depending on how many garage doors they go through. None of this armored is visible from the outside. If we have a critical look at our base, what would be the most likely raid path? I would blow in through the stone on the second floor, probably through the back, and top down the rest. So with that in mind, I think upgrading the second floor walls to metal is the best option at this time. Once we get here, we can also upgrade the top of this side. Now since this side is actually part of our hallway, we can upgrade it to metal. This hallway acts as an 8-rocket honeycomb to our bunker entrance at the same time. I always forget this one in game too. Now on the inside, there are a couple more things we can upgrade and add. This foundation, and then the 2 over here. We'll add in a sheet metal wall here, since if we take a look at our door path's raid cost, we don't want them to be able to go right into the core this way. Okay. So before we go any further, one quick change here. If we have an airlock at this door when it's closed, the roof sticks out through it. If we simply place the garage door the other way, it gets hidden, which I believe would be way better overall. Also, remember to upgrade this roof to metal. Okay, so with those things fixed, we can go ahead and continue. Once we put a garage door here, what happens is this wall becomes the weak spot, so we'll just upgrade it too. On the second floor, we can come up here and upgrade this final wall. We can add some stuff up here utility and storage wise, but raid wise, in a top down, we are good. With our bunker full HQM already, and half of our honeycomb on this side of the base already sheet metal, where is the weak spot now? Well, let's have a look. So the entrance out here is fine like this, but the first floor honeycomb is only stone that leads into HQM core, so that is what we'll upgrade next. From the ground level, we will be able to upgrade all of the foundations and the walls easily, but we will have to go on the roof and jump down to upgrade the tops. With that upgraded, our base is now 23 rockets from every direction to touch the core. Or is it? Let's calculate our front door path. We can actually get a rocket through this gap and splash both doors, so that's 1 rocket. 2 rockets. 5 rockets. And then 15 for the bunker wall. That's only 20 rockets through the door path. So how can we add 3 rockets of raid cost here? Well, if we grab ourselves an armored single door and place it in this slot, it's 23 rockets to raid, the same as going through the 2 walls. Now let's add in our heli storage to the very top. I like the way in to be on the entrance side, but you could put this on any side you want. Enclose the rest with the window frames. The top can be solid and the garage door goes onto the frame. Place all of the windows and now you have a space to fit a couple of helis in. Now some people can land here, but most cannot, so we can add in some triangles to this end to give a bit more space to fly into. Now let's finish the inside. Now most of this will be personal preference, but in this base we only have 3 small furnaces, which is perhaps not enough. We also have this hole. See where I'm going with this? We can't cover this up with the floor because it messes with the bunker mechanism on the other side. So instead we could add 3 more furnaces in here, which brings us to 6, and that makes more sense, especially for things like charcoal. This also allows us to travel through here much smoother. Another thing that is optional is this garage door. Now it is generally always better to have more doors in your base, but take into account all the gears. Now remember this space over here? Now you could use this to hold a large battery, but I'm not going to do an electrical circuit for this design. What I'll do is add a sheet metal floor to it where I can add some more storage. Just some very basic stuff here. The main thing is the meta roof bunker and the loot room on the first floor. I do want to point out this spot on the second floor though quick. Some teams will put a mixing table here, others will put boxes, others a couple of beds. It's all up to you and your playstyle. As far as the main core, this is already pretty much complete. You can stretch it out with some extra storage with drop boxes on the walls, but it does restrict some places to stand and go AFK. I mean movement. I've actually played with an 8-man in this 2x2 part of the base, and it honestly wasn't too bad. And that is pretty much the base. I have a couple of bigger versions of this coming out soon. This core is very dynamic and very interesting to me at the moment. If you have any good ideas on how to use this core, let me know in the comments below. See ya! Oh, and by the way, I felt like doing that.